Have you ever worked hard your entire life, yet still struggled to get ahead? What if the problem isn't how hard you work, but what you do with what you earn? This is the story of two farmers who made very different choices with the same wages. In a fertile valley lived two farmers named Gabriel and Vincent. They worked the same land for the same wealthy landowner. Each week, they received identical wages in silver coins. Both men were hardworking, honest, and dreamed of better futures. But their destinies would diverge completely based on one simple choice. Gabriel believed deeply in the power of saving. Every week, he walked straight home and carefully placed his silver coins into a heavy iron chest hidden beneath his bed. He loved hearing the satisfying clink of metal on metal. Each coin represented security, safety against uncertainty, protection from unknown disasters. Vincent made a different choice entirely. Each week he visited the market and spent most of his wages on something unusual: seeds, apple tree saplings, olive tree seedlings, walnut tree starts, grapevines. His wife Clara watched with growing concern as he planted these tiny, fragile things across their small plot. Gabriel openly mocked Vincent's decisions. "You're planting your wages into dirt," he laughed loudly at the tavern. "Apple trees take years to produce anything. You're a fool wasting money on hopes and dreams. I'm building real security with actual silver coins that I can see and touch and count." Vincent said nothing in response. He simply continued his routine: work all day in the landowner's fields, collect his wages, buy more seeds and saplings, plant them carefully, water them faithfully, protect them from weather and animals. His neighbors thought him strange. His wife worried they were falling behind everyone else financially. 5 years passed this way. Gabriel's iron chest grew heavier with accumulated coins. He felt proud seeing his wealth increase steadily. He could open the chest any time and count his fortune. The weight of the metal represented years of disciplined saving. He felt secure, validated, superior to Vincent's foolishness. Vincent's trees were still young and producing nothing valuable yet. His savings chest remained nearly empty. When relatives visited, they whispered about his poor financial decisions. When merchants extended credit, they hesitated. Vincent appeared poorer than Gabriel by every visible measure. Doubt crept into his heart some lonely nights. Then, unexpected disaster struck the valley. The landowner died suddenly without heirs. His vast estate was divided and sold. Gabriel and Vincent both lost their steady employment on the same dark day. The security they had counted on for years vanished overnight. Now they had to survive on what they had built independently. Gabriel opened his iron chest with confidence. He had saved 5 years of coins, enough to live for perhaps 2 years if he spent carefully. He felt relieved initially, but then a cold realization settled in his stomach. After 2 years, what then? The coins would eventually run out. They didn't produce anything. They just sat there, slowly disappearing. Vincent walked through his land that same morning and saw something completely different. His apple trees had matured beautifully and hung heavy with ripe fruit. His olive trees produced abundantly. His grapevines twisted thick with clusters. His walnut trees stood strong and generous. 5 years of patient planting had created continuous abundance. Vincent began harvesting immediately. He sold apples at the market. He pressed olives into valuable oil. He made wine from grapes. He traded walnuts for other necessities. The income flowed steadily, week after week, without him working in anyone else's fields. His trees worked for him now, producing wealth while he slept peacefully. Gabriel watched this transformation with growing desperation. He approached Vincent privately one evening. His pride had crumbled into humility. He asked quietly, "How did you know to plant instead of save? How did you have the courage to invest when everyone mocked you? How did you endure 5 years of appearing foolish?" Vincent spoke gently, without judgment or triumph. "My father taught me one lesson when I was young. He said, 'Coins sitting still are dying slowly. Seeds planted well are multiplying constantly.' I didn't save money, Gabriel. I planted my future. Every seed was tomorrow's security. Every tree was next year's income. Time was my partner, not my enemy." Gabriel felt tears of regret. 5 years of wages transformed into trees would have given him the same abundance Vincent now enjoyed. Instead, his coins sat uselessly, decreasing in value as prices slowly rose. He had confused accumulation with growth. He had mistaken hoarding for investing. He had been so afraid of losing that he forgot about multiplying. But Vincent offered unexpected grace. "It's not too late, friend. You still have savings. Use them now to plant your future. Buy fruit trees, vegetable seeds, breeding animals, anything that multiplies. In 3 years you'll have income. In 5, you'll have abundance. The best time to plant was 5 years ago. The second best time is today." Gabriel made a different choice this time. He used his savings to buy fruit tree saplings, berry bushes, and vegetable seeds. His chest became lighter, but his hope grew heavier. He planted everything carefully, remembering Vincent's patience. This time, neighbors' laughter didn't wound him. He understood something they hadn't yet learned through their own pain. 3 years later, Gabriel's trees began their first modest harvest. It wasn't abundance yet, but it was income he didn't have to labor for directly. The trees worked while he slept. The seeds multiplied while he rested. He finally understood what Vincent had known all along. Money that works produces freedom. Money that sits produces only temporary comfort. Vincent's orchard had expanded further. He used his tree income to buy more land and plant even more varieties. His wealth compounded naturally. But more importantly, he had time. Time with Clara, time with his children, time to help neighbors, time to simply exist without the constant pressure of trading hours for coins daily. The village slowly learned from observing both men's journeys. Younger farmers began planting fruit trees alongside their regular crops. Families started small vegetable gardens that grew each year. The marketplace filled with people trading seedlings and knowledge. Vincent and Gabriel's story became the lesson everyone shared with their children during planting season. Years later, Gabriel's grandson asked him about the old iron chest under the bed. He pulled it out, now empty except for one single coin. He placed the coin in the boy's hand, then walked him outside to the thriving orchard. "This coin represents what I almost wasted my life doing. Those trees represent what I finally learned to do instead." The boy looked confused. Gabriel knelt down to his eye level. "That coin will buy you 1 meal today. These trees will feed you, your children, and your grandchildren for decades. Money sitting still dies slowly. Money planted wisely multiplies endlessly. Never just save what you earn. Invest it into what grows. Understand?" Vincent told his own children the same lesson differently. He took them to the oldest apple tree, the very first one he had planted 20 years ago. "This tree cost me 1 week's wages. Since then, it has produced thousands of apples worth hundreds of weeks of wages. That's not luck. That's how investing works. You trade today's money for tomorrow's multiplication. The most powerful truth they both learned was this: time either works for you or against you, depending on your choices. Gabriel's coins lost value to inflation sitting idle. Vincent's trees gained value by growing bigger, stronger, more productive. The same 5 years passed for both men. One emerged trapped, one emerged free. Perhaps you're like Gabriel once was, working hard, saving faithfully, but feeling like you're running in place. Maybe you're afraid to invest because it seems risky or complicated. Look around you. What seeds could you plant today with the money sitting idle in your account? What could multiply if you gave it time and care? Your trees might not be literal fruit trees. They might be learning new skills that increase your income. They might be starting a small side business. They might be investing in index funds or real estate. The principle remains identical. Plant today's money into tomorrow's abundance. Give your wealth roots to grow from instead of walls to hide behind. Start small if you must. Vincent began with 1 tree sapling. Gabriel restarted with a handful of seeds. Neither had great wealth to begin with. What they had was understanding. Money that sits eventually dies, but money that's planted potentially multiplies forever. The size of your start matters less than the fact that you start at all. Gabriel and Vincent both eventually passed away, as all people do, but their orchards remained, continuing to produce abundance for their families. Their grandchildren never knew poverty. Their great-grandchildren inherited not just trees, but the wisdom of planting. The best gift they gave wasn't their wealth, it was understanding how wealth grows through patient investment across time. 20 years from now, you'll arrive at the future regardless. The only question is, will you arrive with money that sat idle and decreased, or with investments that grew and multiplied? Will your future self thank you for consuming everything today, or for planting seeds that became your forest of abundance? The choice is yours to make today. If this story awakens something within you, share it with someone who's working hard but staying poor. Subscribe for weekly wisdom that transforms how you see money, time, and growth. Remember Gabriel and Vincent. Remember that every coin is a seed waiting to be planted. The question isn't whether you have enough, it's whether you'll plant what you have.